The 1970s, a decade of disco, bell-bottoms, lava lamps, and shag carpets. A time when everything seemed simpler, but somehow more alive. If you grew up in the 70s, you know it wasn't a justa decade. It was a feeling, a blend of freedom, creativity, and rebellion wrapped in bright colors and soft vinyl seats. Today, going back in time to relive 25 unforgettable things from the 1970s you might be forgotten you grew up with. So sit back, close your eyes for a moment, and let's rewind the clock. You remember the smell of fresh vinyl in a brand new station wagon, don't you? That clunky door slam, the hot metal seatbelt buckle, and that faint hum of AM radio playing Fleetwood Mac or Elton John. Road trips were everything back then. No tablets, no seatback screens, just your imagination. License plate games, and the occasional argument about who got the window seat. Families packed sandwiches in Kool-Aid jugs and hit the open road, the sound of the wind blending with the hum of the engine. Then there were the rotary phones. Heavy, pastel-colored, and permanently attached to the kitchen wall by a cord that could stretch across the room. Every family had one, avocado green, mustard yellow, or beige. Remember the sound? That click-click-click? As you dialed each number, calling your best friend took effort, and if someone picked up in another room, they could listen in. Privacy. Not in the 70s. And who could forget Saturday morning cartoons? The golden hours of childhood. You'd wake up before your parents, pour yourself a bowl of Frosted Flakes, and park in front of the TV for hours. Scooby-Doo, Looney Tunes, the Jetsons. The classics that shaped our imagination. The commercials were just as iconic. Stretch Armstrong, Barbie Dreamhouse, and G.I. Joe. That was the magic of Saturday. No school, no rules, just cartoons. The Polaroid camera deserves its own place in history. Before selfies and filters, there was that satisfying whir-click sound, the instant photo sliding out, and the nervous wait as the picture slowly developed in your hands. People shook the photos like it would speed up the process, even though it didn't. Each picture felt precious, one shot to capture the moment. No retakes, no edits. Just raw, real memories. Then came the lava lamp, the symbol of every cool teenager's bedroom. Psychedelic colors swirling slowly inside glass, hypnotic, mesmerizing, and oddly comforting. It wasn't just decoration, it was an escape. Sitting in your beanbag chair, listening to Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin, staring into that slow dance of wax. It was a moment of peace in a noisy world. Let's talk about the TV itself. The massive wooden cabinet models that doubled as furniture. There were only a few channels, and you had to get up to change them by hand. And when the picture got fuzzy, you adjusted the antenna. Sometimes wrapping foil around it like that would help. Families gathered around the set for the Carol Burnett show. Happy Days or Maza Sterisk. Television wasn't background noise. It was the heart of the evening. If you grew up in the 70s, your house probably had shag carpeting. Thick, colorful, and impossible to vacuum properly. Orange, brown, or lime green, every home looked like a rainbow exploded. You'd sink into it barefoot, the fibers swallowing your toes. It was ugly, it was impractical, and yet, it was home. And how about record players? The needle dropping onto vinyl, that faint crackle before the music began. Pure magic. You couldn't just skip songs. You listened. You felt the album as it was meant to be played, whether it was the Bee Gees, the Rolling Stones, or Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. Each spin felt like an event. You learned to flip sides, handle the record carefully, and stack vinyls like treasure. Kids today may never understand the excitement of collecting trading cards, whether it was baseball, Star Wars, or even those wild, wacky packages. You'd trade at lunch, brag about the rare ones, and stick your extras in shoeboxes. The smell of that gum inside the pack. Instant nostalgia. And speaking of gum, there were candy classics like Pop Rocks, Fun Dip, and Big League Chew. You felt like a rebel chewing bubblegum tobacco. Parents didn't worry about sugar. Childhood was sweet, literally. Summer days meant melting ice pops, bare feet, and chasing the ice cream truck to the corner. Let's not forget the toys that defined the decade. Etch-a-Sketch Light-Bright, Lincoln Logs, and the Easy-Bake Oven. They weren't digital. They were tangible, creative, and sometimes dangerous. Remember the original metal slides at the playground? They'd burn your legs by noon, but we didn't care. We were tougher then. And what about the clothing? Bell-bottom jeans, tie-dye shirts, and polyester everything. If your outfit didn't make a sound when you walked, you weren't doing it right. Platform shoes made you taller. Mood rings told your feelings, and everyone owned at least one fringed vest. It was wild, weird, and wonderful. In the evenings, you might have gathered around 4 family board games. Monopoly, the game of life, or Clue. The arguments, the laughter, the triumph of winning free Perkin money. There were no screens, no pings, just voices and dice rolling across the table. Then came the drive-in theaters, the ultimate weekend hangout, the smell of popcorn, the sound of crickets, the glow of headlights as cars pulled in, teenagers on dates, families with pajamas in the back seat. Watching a movie under the stars felt like pure magic. A moment suspended in time. If you were lucky, you might have had a Viewmaster, that little red toy that let you see the world in 3D. Every click revealed a new image: Disney scenes, nature slides, space adventures. It was VR before VR existed. At home, your parents probably had wood-paneled walls. Every room looked like a cabin, dark, cozy, and slightly mysterious. I had a few houseplants, a macrame hanging, and maybe a Harvest Gold refrigerator, and you had the perfect 70s living room. And speaking of appliances, let's not forget the microwave oven revolution. It felt like science fiction, food cooked with waves. People were skeptical at first, but soon, microwaving popcorn became the ultimate movie night tradition. One of the sweetest memories. School life, chalkboards, cursive handwriting, and book covers made from brown grocery bags. You carried a metal lunchbox, maybe Star Wars, maybe Scooby-Doo, and swapped snacks with friends. Simpler times, simpler joys. Then there was music culture. Mixtapes, 8-tracks, and boomboxers. You'd record songs from the radio, sometimes with the DJ talking over the intro. The mixtape wasn't just music. It was emotion, a gift, a message, a memory. Everyone remembers the cars, long, loud, and larger than life. The station wagons, the Chevy Novas, the muscle cars that guzzled gas but ruled the roads. Chrome, curves, and attitude. Seatbelts, optional, windows down, music loud. The 70s were also the golden age of dining out Pizza Hut with stained glass lamps, drive-through burgers wrapped in foil, and orange booths that squeaked when you sat. Everything had style. Even fast food felt like an experience. And we can't skip the fashion icons. Farrah Fawcett, Hair, John Travolta, white disco suit, and Elvis's glittering jumpsuits. People dressed in the 70s. Bold, fearless, and unapologetically themselves. Finally, one of the things people remember most. The feeling. The way summer nights smelled of cut grass and barbecues. The sound of kids playing outside until the streetlights came on. The taste of freedom before the digital age arrived. The 1970s weren't perfect, but they were personal. Life was slower, warmer, and more human. You didn't just grow up in the 70s, you grew with them. And even now, decades later, that decade still lives somewhere deep inside. In every song, every smell, every faded photograph, tucked away in an old shoebox. So maybe it's time to remember the rotary phones, the lava lamps, the vinyl records, and the shag carpets. Because in a world that's constantly changing, the 70s remind us of something timeless. How beautiful life can be when it is simple.